Good morning. So I keep getting really inspired by different things and just stuff that keeps coming into my space. And I saw the same thing twice this morning. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go live about it because for when I enjoy being able to share stuff, and we're all human. We all walk through crazy, crazy, crazy things. And I have gotten myself connected to a group of people who are really super vulnerable. There's none of this, fluff. It's like, it's just really authentic, vulnerable people. And they're all super successful, which I was always around people like, I never understood what success looked like. I never understood, how I would get from one point to the next, right? Like I always wanted to have lots of money, but I could never imagine how that would happen. And so being around all of these incredible people in this group that I'm a part of, if you've read Think and Grow Rich, put a 1 in the box. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Megan. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Sienna. How are you guys this morning? Yes. Hi, Michael. How are you? If you guys have ever heard of the book Think and Grow Rich, put a 1 in the box because they talk about a mastermind in that group, in that book. And that is exactly what, a lot of people think that they've found, or they try to find a mastermind, and it ends up, and I walked through this, right? Like I had, hi Jessica, hi Jessie, 2 Jessicas at the same time. Look at that. That's awesome. I realized that a lot of people were connected to people. I was connected to people that weren't like what I needed to be connected to. Not that they're bad, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just I needed to disconnect and have this understanding. So this whole thought, good morning, Dennis, good morning, or DJ, I don't know why I said Dennis, good morning, Lori. I am reading, if you put a 2 in the box, if you've ever heard of Eckhart Tolle. I've been studying him for, 6 years. He's absolutely amazing. When I first started listening to him, his voice drove me crazy. Like I couldn't actually listen to some of the things he was saying because there was long pauses and he speaks very slowly. And he has this tone about him, but it's because he's absolutely freaking amazing, right? So I've been listening to him for years, and I just got a couple of his books downloaded into my Audible account. So I've just been listening to them, and one of them is, I think it's called Transcending the Now or Presenting the Now. I actually can't remember. Hi, Mata, how are you? Anyway, I'm listening to it and I'm in this section, right? It just starts playing in my car. And he starts talking about how sometimes your life has to fall apart in order for it to fall together. Put a 3 in the box if you can relate to your life completely falling apart and then it being the best thing that has ever happened to you. Put a 3 in the box if you've been through hell. Okay, so I love this concept because literally we have these very, very strong outer shells. It's very difficult for humans to act like they don't have their shit together, right? Like we get judged. We judge ourselves if we don't have, our kids aren't, their hair done and their outfit's perfect and, you don't show up and your car is clean or, whatever. We all have these images and everybody's image is different. Some people just don't care and that's their image, right? But we all have these images. I like to look at it like an eggshell. We have this hard outer shell, right? That is just like, it keeps people out and it keeps us from going in, if that makes any sense. Put a 4 in the box if I'm making sense. Hello, Mr. Smith. How are you? I was so proud of you to see your post on Facebook. I was like, yeah, look at him. That's awesome. Anyway, so we all have this outer shell, which keeps people from knowing us, and it keeps us from going inward and realizing who we are. So sometimes shit has to hit the fan, right? Like we literally have to have our entire world just crumble, crack, like an eggshell, so that we can figure out what it is we want and who we are and what we want to create in our life. And I love the way that Eckhart Tolle says this because he said that even if, say you wanted $1 million and you got $1 million deposited in your bank account tomorrow, if you didn't have the mindset or the mental capacity or the disciplines of a millionaire, you would do the exact same thing that you have done with your money over and over and over again with that $1 million, and you would end up broke. Some people call it Parkinson's law when it comes to finances and stuff like that. It's doing the same thing no matter what the situation on the outside changes. This happens with people that get married and then they have a spouse. They don't work on themselves. They get a divorce because they figure it's not going to work. Then they go get with another person and the exact same thing happens. Put a 6 in the box. If you guys have heard of this, right? Like if you have heard, you've seen this. They get in a relationship, one person cheats on the other person, and then 2 years later, they're in the exact same situation where they're being cheated on, or they're cheating on somebody, right? We repeat these patterns. So how do you fix it? This is the thing. We have to make space. We have to make space and be aware that we want to create something different. How do you do that? You have to start thinking differently. You have to start doing something differently. Now, how do you do that? It takes daily discipline, action every single day that is going to change your life. Good morning, Chelsea. Good morning, Nick. I actually just wanted to send you a video I just watched. It's so good. It's so good. I can't wait to talk to you about it. Okay, so the daily disciplines of it, right? Okay, here's the coolest thing. You just have to think. Be aware of your thoughts and catch them. That's it. I'm dumb. Oh my gosh, why would I say I'm dumb? I'm not actually dumb. No, that's not a true thought. I'm actually pretty amazing, right? So you catch the thought and then replace it with something else and then get rid of it. So I'm not dumb. I'm actually really smart. Okay, that thought is gone now, right? I am unlovable. I'm a biatch. I'm a whatever, right? Grab the thought and then say, you know what? I'm actually not. I'm actually a really nice person. I've actually done a lot of really nice things in my life. I might be grumpy sometimes, but I'm actually a pretty even-keeled, level-headed person. So bam, we've replaced it, and voila, we're starting to change the program. We're making space for a new thought. So put a 7 in the box if you are ready to change something about your life. You want to change a story that you've been telling yourself for a really long time. Anybody else get these calls? Let's see what this one is. This is my daughter's phone. Yeah, nobody there? That's what I thought. *2. Gone. See? Just like that, gone. If you guys ever want to get rid of spammers, both my kids have phones and both of them get 100 calls a day. And yeah, it's not cool. So *2 them and then they'll go away. So take whatever it is that you have. And sometimes it's other people. Have you put an 8 in the box if your life would be better if someone else would stop acting the way they act? We can be vulnerable here. It's my Facebook page, right? If anybody's mean to you, I'll delete it or kick them off or block them. But seriously, put an 8 in the box if your life would be better if somebody else did something, if somebody else would stop, or if you could only not have to deal with whatever. Because this is the thing. Once we take our responsibility back, that we allow this into our space, right? Then we can start to change how we think about it. We can change. Good morning, Janelle. Good morning, Joe. And this is where it's really super hard, especially when it's somebody really close to you, right? Like with my husband, for example. We've been married for almost 11 years, you guys. I can talk about him on Facebook. We have a really good relationship. We've had many ups and downs, as you guys know. And we love each other. Like, wholeheartedly, 100% love each other. But anybody who thinks that we have a perfect marriage or any marriage is perfect, I'm sorry, people aren't telling you the truth. Because I tell you every single day, there is stuff that you've got to work on if you want to stay married. And it's not always perfect. It's beautiful, but it's not always perfect. So anyway, with my husband, there for like 6 months, I was in a state where everything was his fault. Everything. Like it didn't matter if we didn't have milk in the refrigerator, if we didn't have, if the house was trashed, if my laundry wasn't done, like because I didn't do it, it was still his fault. And I went through a stage where I was miserable. And it was because I was making myself miserable because of the choices I was making. And it was all his fault, right? Everything about it. And one day I had a switch flipped. A switch flipped in my brain. And I realized that the only reason I was miserable about this is because I was thinking miserable thoughts. Because I've been around this stuff forever, right? Personal development, it's pretty simple. What you think about, you bring about. That is like the truest thing ever. That's really hard to understand when you're in the midst of something, right? When your whole world is crashing down and it's because there's all these outside influences coming in, you think, how is this my fault, right? But what you think about comes about. What you think about, you bring about. Change your thoughts, change your mind, change your thoughts, change your life, right? All of these same sayings, they all mean the same thing in this world of personal development, but it's really difficult to grasp it. So I just decided that I was going to change the way I thought about my husband. I was going to start only seeing the positive, only looking at the gratitude, checking in on myself with how I was feeling. Was I feeling love or was I holding on to anger? Well, sure enough, after 2 or 3 weeks of me only paying attention to the good, the relationship started to switch. Did my husband do anything different? No, he didn't, honestly. My husband is the one person that I can honestly tell you is pretty much the exact same person that he's been since the day I met him. He doesn't read books. He's just my husband. And that's why I love him so much, because I am like a wild animal kite over here flying. And thank goodness he's got a string attached to me so that I don't fly off into the abyss, right? But I had to change. I had to do the work. And it's so hard to say that when you have somebody, because there's 1,000 different stories that we tell ourselves, right? There's 1,000 different ways that you can look at this. And there's going to be somebody that says it's not my fault that somebody treats me this way. It's not my fault that I'm in this situation. And that is where I challenge you to look at your story. I challenge you to look at your choices. People treat us the way that we teach them to treat us. And if we allow it, it sucks, but we're allowing it by our choices. And is it difficult? Yes. I've left relationships. Hey, Josie. Hi, Shay. Hi, Becky. How are you guys? Hi, Holly. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. Once you can take 100% responsibility and you can look at your life and make room, make space. Think about it as you're walking into a brand new house. You have to fill that house with stuff. Now you have to figure out where you're going to put stuff. You can do the exact same thing in your brain. And if you're dealing with health challenges, get on a product that will help you. That's the first step. We got to get you healthy. This is why I left the company I left to start a new company, because I wanted a product that was going to work for every single person, that was going to be affordable, that literally every single person could take to get them started. And that's where we're at, right? Get healthy, work on yourself, get your mind right, and then create the space, make room for what you want to create. Some people don't even know what they want. Some people are like, I want my life to change. Okay, where do you see yourself in 6 months? I don't know. Well, how much money do you want to have in your bank account? I don't know. Well, what kind of a relationship do you want? I don't know. I just want to be happy. Okay, what are we doing to get you happy? I don't know. Right? We got to get you in a space where you can make room for what you want to come in. And this kind of is tough. If you've never thought like this, it's like taking a car that's going 100 miles an hour down a road and switching directions. You have to turn it around. You have to look at where you're going and maybe pull the car over for a minute and sit there and say, okay, this is not the direction I want to go. Let's turn it around. And sometimes we don't like to turn around. We fight ourselves. Resistance is growth. If you have resistance in your life right now, put a 9 in the box. And I want to just pound the hearts for you. If I could pound hearts for you guys, I would. Because resistance means change. I want to burn everything in my house and have an empty house. Yes, I'm doing the battlefield of my mind right now. That's totally me. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being vulnerable in that, because it's really tough to say, this is not where I want to go, but I don't know how to change it. That's my theme this week, right? Is how do you take the pile of shit that you have in your life right now, and how do you start to sort it? You start by doing one thing. And this was what my live was about last night. And this has now become a theme. You have to just start. What is one aspect of your life that you want to change? Just one? Do you want to think happier thoughts? Do you want to gossip less? Do you want to compare yourself to no one? What is it that you want to work on? Because if you're ready to do that, it just takes one simple step. It might be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life, especially if it's leaving an abusive spouse or stopping an addiction or moving out of a house that doesn't serve you any longer. That might be the most difficult thing you have ever done in your life. But if you are truly ready to stop the car from going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction, you can stop and turn it around. And it doesn't have to be forever. This is the thing. When I kicked my husband out of my house eons ago, we were separated for 5 weeks. We went to marriage counseling every week for 5 weeks. And you know what? It brought us together stronger. He showed up for me. I showed up for myself and I showed up for him. Then we both showed up for our kids. But it was because I had the guts to say, this isn't working. This is not where I want to take our relationship 100 miles an hour in this direction. We have to do something hard. And yeah, it was not easy. It was not easy. But because it was meant to be and it was right and we took the action steps, it made us better. Now, if it wouldn't have made us better in relationship category, right? I'm talking about relationships right now. If it wouldn't have made it better, we would have gone our separate ways. We would have. That's the way it would have worked. But because we both showed up for each other, we both decided, then that was what was right for us. Now, I don't know what's going to be right for you. If it's a relationship, if it's your bank account, if it's your mindset, if it's your job you work at, if it's whatever it is, right? And I'm just talking about my relationship because this is what hits home for me. I know what it's like to leave a company where I'm making over 6 figures a year. I know what it's like to let people down when I know that it was the best thing for me. I know what it's like to have the wrath of people that you thought loved you abandon you at the time that you needed them the most. You were there for them for years and years and years, and they just gone. Because you stopped picking up the phone and calling, they stopped calling you. I know what it's like to get, like hate mail. I know what it's like to have that resistance be so detrimentally difficult. But I can tell you, I would walk through the last 6 months all over again to have the freedom and the joy and the happiness and the direction that I have now. Because I don't feel like I'm in a cage anymore. I did a live April 20th that got removed off of Facebook, talking about why I needed to set myself free, that I couldn't be put in the box anymore. What box are you put in right now with your relationships, with your money situation, with your job, with your mindset? What kind of a box have you put yourself in, and what are you willing to do to take the step and move forward? It's not easy. Nobody said it would be easy for me to do a live on Facebook when I couldn't tell the people I loved the most what I was doing because I wasn't allowed to. In hindsight, I would have done it anyway, right? And told them anyway and taken the wrath from the company that I was leaving instead of the wrath from the people that I loved. But you can't do that, right? You got to keep moving forward because that's where you learn the lesson. You take that hard outer shell and you crack it open and you look at it and you think, holy crap, what did I create? What have I been hiding from myself? What have I been scared to look at? And you get vulnerable and then you take an action step. Sometimes things have to fall completely apart. Your ego has to be completely shattered. All the ideas of what you thought you were and how perfect you thought your life was or how you thought your journey was going to be. I posted on Facebook yesterday, man makes plans and God laughs. Ha ha. Think about that for a second. Man makes a plan and then God laughs because he has a bigger view, a better scope. He has a different plan. It's all going to work out and it's probably going to be better than you ever thought, right? I just watched Bruce Almighty the other day. Put a 10 in the box if you've seen the movie Bruce Almighty. That movie is amazing, and it kind of shows up for you. I want $1 million in the bank account. I don't care how I'm going to get it, and then everybody else gets it, right? Everybody else around you is getting all these promotions. They're having all this success, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish my life was as perfect as theirs. but you don't realize what they are doing. They're not doing what you're doing. They're not living the life you're living. Their path is not your path. Comparatitis is it's horrible. But when you get smashed, when God shows up for you, or the divine or the universe or fate or divinity or whatever you want to call it, right? It's something that's bigger than us. And if you don't believe in anything, you believe in yourself, believe in, what you got going on, because that's when you come to like a complete understanding. But anyway, God had to show up for Bruce and tell him what kind of a path he was on. He literally had to lose everything. His job, his girlfriend, even the dog. Like, seriously, that movie's amazing. But there's so many things in life that we don't show up for ourselves, right? And we think the world is falling apart, but really it's falling together. Are you ready and willing to crack the outer shell? Are you ready and willing to be vulnerable? Are you ready and willing to talk about the hard stuff? Because that's where you grow. We're all human. We all have problems. We all have issues. It's how honest and truthful do you want to be and show up for other people to talk about it. Because that's where growth happens. It's when you can come up and say, listen, I haven't done it perfectly. I haven't shown up for myself in this aspect of my life. I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to take one step. I'm ready to move. That's what I wanted to talk about, you guys. Take one step. Make room for what you want to grow in your life. Just make room. Make space. Start thinking about it. Be intentional. Watch what happens in your life. Love you guys. Hi, Tasha.